As a brain doctor who has spent years studying strokes in older adults, I must tell you something that may surprise you. The danger is not always in the obvious things like smoking, alcohol, or fatty foods. Sometimes it is in the quiet, daily habits we never question. And one of the most overlooked is rice. For millions of seniors, rice is comfort food, a staple that has been eaten for decades. But the way rice is prepared, reheated, or combined with other foods can slowly increase the risk of stroke and silently damage brain health. You may think a warm bowl of rice is harmless, or that eating sticky rice or fried rice is just tradition. But what if I told you those small choices could be straining your blood vessels, spiking your blood sugar, and feeding the very processes that trigger strokes? I have seen elderly patients who never smoked, who exercised daily, and yet they suffered a stroke. When we looked closer, one common thread appeared. Their daily rice habits were quietly pushing them closer to danger. In this video, I will reveal 5 specific rice habits that seniors must avoid if they want to protect their brain, reduce their risk of stroke, and stay independent. At the same time, I will also show you better choices that can keep rice on your table in a healthier way. Before we dive in, if you have not subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. Now, let us uncover the first rice habit that looks innocent but can be a silent heartbreaker for your brain. Habit 1. Overeating white rice daily. The first rice habit that quietly raises stroke risk is eating too much white rice every single day. White rice is one of the most common staples for seniors around the world. It is soft, easy to chew, and easy to digest. But the very thing that makes it comforting also makes it dangerous. White rice is heavily processed, with the outer bran and germ removed. That means it is stripped of fiber, vitamins, and minerals, leaving behind almost pure starch. When you eat a bowl of white rice, your body breaks it down quickly into glucose. This causes your blood sugar to spike sharply, especially when eaten alone or in large amounts. For seniors, repeated spikes in blood sugar damage the delicate lining of blood vessels, including those in the brain. Over time, this damage leads to stiffness, narrowing, and plaque buildup. This sets the stage for ischemic strokes, where a clot blocks blood flow to the brain. Studies have shown that people who eat large amounts of white rice daily have a significantly higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes. And diabetes itself is one of the strongest predictors of stroke. I recall one patient, a 72-year-old woman, who ate rice 3 times a day with almost every meal. She never considered it a problem because she avoided sweets and fried food. Yet she suffered a sudden stroke, and her blood tests revealed long-term uncontrolled blood sugar. The culprit was not candy or cake. It was the quiet bowls of white rice that added up day after day. Beyond blood sugar, too much white rice also crowds out other nutrients. Seniors who fill their plates with rice often eat fewer vegetables and proteins, depriving their brain of antioxidants and amino acids needed for repair. The brain becomes more vulnerable to oxidative stress and inflammation, 2 key processes in stroke. The solution is not to give up rice entirely, but to practice moderation and make smarter choices. Replace part of the rice with high-fiber options like brown rice, quinoa, or barley. Mix in vegetables and beans to slow down sugar absorption. And most importantly, avoid oversized portions. A small serving of rice as part of a balanced meal can still be enjoyed without harming your brain. But a plate piled high with white rice at breakfast, lunch, and dinner quietly builds the conditions for stroke. If this habit shocked you, wait until you hear about the next one, because it is not just how much rice you eat, but how you cook it that can increase your risk of brain damage. Habit 2. Eating overcooked or sticky rice. The second rice habit that puts seniors at risk is eating rice that is cooked until it is too soft, too sticky, or turned into porridge. Many older adults believe that cooking rice until it is very soft makes it easier to chew and digest. While that is true, it also makes the starch in rice much easier to absorb. When rice is overcooked, the starch granules break down into a form that digests rapidly, spiking blood sugar even faster than regular rice. This sudden surge floods your bloodstream with glucose, forcing your pancreas to work harder and straining your blood vessels. In the short term, you may feel sleepy or fatigued after eating sticky rice or porridge. In the long term, repeated surges accelerate the wear and tear on your arteries, especially those supplying the brain. This increases the risk of ischemic stroke, but also hemorrhagic stroke, because weakened arteries are more likely to rupture under pressure. I have seen seniors who thought eating sticky rice balls or rice porridge was harmless comfort food, yet they came to the hospital with early signs of stroke. Their blood pressure was unstable, and their blood sugar levels were unpredictable. Overcooked rice is not the only problem. Sticky rice varieties, such as glutinous rice used in desserts or festival foods, also carry risks. They are very dense in starch, lacking fiber, and when eaten with sweet toppings or coconut milk, they become a dangerous combination of sugar and saturated fat. This combination fuels inflammation, raising blood pressure and promoting clot formation. One elderly man I treated loved eating sticky rice desserts every week at family gatherings. After years of this habit, he developed high blood sugar and eventually suffered a stroke that left him unable to walk. The family was shocked because he avoided alcohol and rarely ate meat, but the sticky rice had quietly worked against him. The solution is to cook rice lightly, keeping the grains firm rather than mushy. Choose whole grain rice varieties that retain their fiber. Avoid sticky rice desserts or save them for rare occasions. Adding vegetables and protein to rice dishes also slows absorption and reduces blood sugar spikes. By changing how you cook rice, you change how your brain and blood vessels respond to it. And if you think cooking is the only problem, wait until you hear about what happens when rice is reheated the wrong way. Habit 3. Reheated rice left overnight. The third rice habit that raises stroke risk is eating rice that has been left overnight and reheated. Many seniors dislike wasting food, so it is common to store leftover rice in the fridge and reheat it the next day. While this may seem practical, it carries hidden dangers. First, leftover rice can harbor bacteria called Bacillus cereus. These bacteria produce toxins that may survive reheating. Eating contaminated rice can lead to vomiting, diarrhea, and dehydration, which can trigger dangerous imbalances in older adults with fragile health. Dehydration reduces blood volume and thickens the blood, making it easier for clots to form. This increases the risk of stroke, especially in the brain where small vessels are already weakened. Second, reheated rice undergoes chemical changes. As rice cools, the starch retrogrades into a resistant form that is harder to digest. While resistant starch has some benefits, For seniors with weak digestion, it can cause bloating and discomfort. More importantly, if rice is reheated multiple times or kept at unsafe temperatures, the buildup of bacterial toxins combines with poor digestion to stress the body. Inflammation rises, blood pressure spikes, and the brain becomes more vulnerable. I remember one 75-year-old patient who frequently reheated rice for breakfast because she lived alone and wanted to save time. She often complained of dizziness and stomach upset, but thought nothing of it until she suffered a small stroke. Her blood tests showed signs of infection and dehydration. The leftover rice habit had quietly undermined her health. The safer choice is to cook smaller portions of rice and eat it fresh. If you must store rice, refrigerate it quickly within 1 hour of cooking and consume it within 24 hours. Never reheat rice more than once. And consider freezing extra rice instead of keeping it in the fridge. This reduces bacterial growth and preserves quality. By making this simple change, you protect your digestive system, your circulation, and ultimately your brain. And if you think food safety is the only issue, the next habit will surprise you even more. Because what you eat alongside rice can quietly magnify stroke risk in ways most seniors never imagine. Habit 4. Pairing rice with salty or processed foods. The fourth rice habit that damages brain health is eating rice together with salty or processed foods. Many seniors enjoy rice with pickles, dried fish, cured meats, or instant noodles. These foods are convenient, flavorful, and familiar, but they are loaded with salt, preservatives, and unhealthy fats. When eaten daily with rice, they create a dangerous combination. Salt raises blood pressure by making the body retain fluid and by tightening blood vessels. For seniors whose arteries are already stiff, this extra pressure can cause tiny vessels in the brain to rupture, leading to hemorrhagic stroke. High salt intake also weakens the protective lining of arteries, making them more prone to plaque buildup and clot formation. I have seen elderly patients who rarely ate sweets but loved eating rice with salty pickles every day. They often came in with uncontrolled hypertension and eventually suffered strokes that robbed them of speech or movement. Processed foods add another layer of risk. Many contain trans fats, artificial additives, and preservatives that increase inflammation. When combined with the rapid blood sugar rise from rice, this double assault accelerates damage to brain vessels. For example, eating white rice with canned luncheon meat is a common quick meal, but it floods the body with starch, sodium, and fat all at once. A recipe for vascular disaster. One woman in her 60s told me she always ate rice with dried salted fish because it reminded her of her childhood. But years of this habit left her with hardened arteries and she eventually had a massive stroke. The safer alternative is to pair rice with fresh vegetables, lean proteins like fish or chicken, and healthy fats like olive oil or nuts. Herbs and spices can replace salt for flavor. If pickles or processed meats are enjoyed, they should be reserved for special occasions, not daily meals. Your brain and blood vessels respond to what you eat together, not just to the rice itself. And if this shocked you, the final habit will alarm you even more. Because rice is not only eaten as a staple, but also as a sweet indulgence. And that is where the hidden dangers truly escalate. Habit 5. Rice-based desserts and sugary rice snacks. The fifth rice habit that puts seniors at high risk of stroke is indulging in rice-based desserts and sugary rice snacks. These include sweet sticky rice, rice cakes, rice puddings, and fried rice crackers coated with sugar or syrup. Many older adults see these as harmless treats or cultural traditions, but they combine the worst of both worlds, rapidly absorb starch and added sugar. This deadly duo causes massive spikes in blood sugar and insulin, fueling inflammation and oxidative stress in blood vessels. Over time, this weakens the brain's arteries and sets the stage for both ischemic and hemorrhagic strokes. I recall a 69-year-old patient who loved eating sweet rice cakes every afternoon with tea. She thought it was better than cookies or pastries, but her blood sugar readings were dangerously high. And one day she collapsed from a stroke. The truth is, rice desserts are not safer than other sweets. In fact, they may be worse, because seniors often underestimate their sugar content. Fried rice snacks add another problem. They are often cooked in unhealthy oils that create trans fats. These fats stiffen arteries and increase bad cholesterol, raising stroke risk further. The combination of sugar, starch, and unhealthy fat is a triple threat to brain health. Some research even shows that diets high in refined carbohydrates and sugars accelerate cognitive decline, making the brain more vulnerable not only to stroke, but also to dementia. The solution is to treat rice desserts as rare indulgences, not daily habits. Choose fresh fruit, yogurt, or small portions of dark chocolate for sweet cravings. If you enjoy rice, stick to plain, boiled, or steamed versions, paired with vegetables and lean protein. By reducing sugary rice snacks, you give your brain a chance to heal and your blood vessels a chance to recover. Protecting your brain means recognizing that even the sweetest traditions can turn sour if repeated too often. And now that you know the 5 rice habits that quietly increase stroke risk, let us end with an important message of hope and action. Doctor's final words. After years of treating stroke patients, I can tell you that the greatest dangers are not always the loud ones. They are the quiet daily habits that we repeat without question. Rice itself is not evil, but the way we eat it, overcook it, reheat it, and pair it, or sweeten it, can slowly destroy brain health. Seniors who understand this truth can take back control. By changing just a few rice habits, you can lower blood pressure, stabilize blood sugar, and protect the delicate vessels in your brain. You do not have to give up rice. You only have to eat it wisely. Choose smaller portions, fresher preparations, healthier pairings, and fewer sweets. Your body still remembers how to heal, even after years of bad habits. Share this video with someone you love, because you may save them from a devastating stroke. Now, I would love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you have learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let us support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please comment 1. If not, feel free to comment 0. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe for more health tips made just for seniors. Thank you for watching. And here is to living life on your own terms with clarity, strength, and protection from silent stroke risks.